The most important quality in a man is not how masculine he is. It's not how generous he is. It's not how devotional he is. It's not how much he cares about you. It is how much he puts in effort to be a better man for you. This is going to be the make or break quality in a relationship, because no man is going to be perfect. If you have a man right now, or if you're single, regardless, no man is going to be anywhere close to perfect. He is going to come with a lot of flaws. He is going to do a lot of things that you really don't like, that bother you, that hurt you in some kind of way, that cause you to lose attraction for him. And if you have a man, or if you choose a man in the future who isn't willing to put in the effort to be a better man for you, then you are basically just stuck with that version of him, no matter what you do. And that sucks, because relationships are all about growth. They are all about becoming better for each other. So it's really important that you pick a man who wants to put in the effort. And if you're in a relationship right now, well, hopefully you picked a man who really wants to put in the effort. If you have a man who's not putting in the effort, there is a good chance, not a complete chance, but a good chance that it has to do with you and how you are showing up. So we're going to be talking about that too in this video. We're going to talk about why this is so important and what you can do about it if you happen to be with a man, or in the future you happen to be with a man who doesn't seem to be putting in the effort, and how he may actually be reflecting you. Before we really dive in, I am going to introduce myself. My name is Zach Rohde. I am here to lead you into creating the relationship of your dreams, using your feminine energy and what I call feminine communication to inspire a man into cherishing you. This is what I have done for hundreds of my Women Academy students, my clients, and this is what I want to help you do too on these videos. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, make sure you do that below. Hit the notification bell, and of course, be sure to like this video, because I'm going to make sure it's a really good one for you. Okay, so putting in the effort. We're going to talk, before we really go into this, we're going to talk about me and my life. I've been with my wife for close to a decade now. And the first 3.5 years together, I was not the kind of man that would put in a lot of effort to change. I made a lot of excuses to kind of remain the way that I was. Now, I had done a whole bunch of self-development work prior to being with my wife. Self-development, people who are growth-oriented in that way, who really like developing themselves, you would think that they would put in a lot of effort to be a better man for you, wouldn't you? And that is sometimes the case, and it is sometimes not. And it wasn't the case for me, because my mindset was, I was already great. I was already amazing. Why would I want to change further? I didn't see my weak points in the relationship. I saw some of them. Sometimes I would be reactive and angry. I wouldn't want to be reactive with my wife. But other aspects, like becoming more generous, being more thoughtful, stepping up and leading more, easing my wife's burdens, becoming more generous in that kind of way, I didn't see those as problems. I didn't see those as things that I wanted to shift. And so I didn't put in much effort to be a better man for my wife. Even though I had lots of really great qualities already, now I'm kind of at my growth ceiling in the relationship, where it's like, okay, things are not going to get much better. I'm not going to change much further than this. And so for those first 3.5 years, my wife was kind of stuck with like, okay, this is who I've got. And of course, there is that advice out there that it's like, you're not going to be able to change a man. Pick someone that you're going to be happy with, just the way that he is. That's actually BS. Okay, that advice is stupid. You absolutely can change a man, but not by trying to change him. You will never change a man by trying to change him, because you'll be leading. You'll be in your masculine energy, and the only way a man is going to respond to that is if he's really in his feminine energy, and he basically just becomes more submissive for you, which you're not going to like. That's actually not going to feel good for you. You need a man who is in his masculine, who chooses to become a better man for you, who puts in the effort to be a better man for you, not because you're telling him to in any kind of way, but because he genuinely wants to, because he's inspired to want to take care of you more, to make you happier, and just to be a better man for himself as well. Nobody should be content in a relationship or in a marriage with a partner who doesn't want to grow, who doesn't want to put in more effort to being a better person. Like that's not even a relationship. And I'm telling you this, ladies, because I've worked with so many women at this point. I've done so many discovery calls with women to join my program. And so I have a pretty good idea of what women are dealing with. I have a really good idea. I have a better idea than just about anybody at this point, from all of these conversations and seeing what's going on in these relationships, in these situations, what women have dealt with. And I really don't like it. It really bothers me, actually, to see women have to suffer in relationships with men who don't want to put in effort, because that is an insult. That is one of the most insulting things that a man could ever do to a woman, is not put in effort to be a better man for her. What he's basically saying is, I don't give a crap about your experience. I don't care how you are feeling. I'm just going to be exactly the same as I have always been. You can either like it or not. That's not healthy. That is not a healthy mindset. And when I had that mindset, I was not healthy. It's actually toxic. I don't care what kind of excuses men give you. And I had some pretty good excuses for my wife. It's a toxic mindset to have. Healthy men, and healthy women as well, they want to grow. They want to put in effort. They want to put in the effort to be a better person for their partner, for the person that they love. And you deserve that. Okay, you absolutely deserve that. And part of what bothers me is that I'm not going to say every single woman, but the overwhelming majority of women in my program, in my academy, and on the calls that I've done, discovery calls to talk about my program, they put in the effort. Women, I would say, in my experience, women are much more likely to put in the effort to be better partners, to be better women for their man, than men, than the reverse. And there's many reasons for that. I'm not going to get into that. But the point is, when you're putting in all of this effort and the man isn't, that's so much worse. That's really painful. And if you have experienced that before with a man, or if you are experiencing that right now, just take a moment and really feel that pain. That feeling of grief, anger, sadness, maybe shame, hopelessness, maybe something else. To be putting in all of this effort to be a better person, to be the best that you can be, and not have that effort matched. That hurts. I've only experienced this once in my life. Once in my entire life. I'm going to talk about it in a moment. Before I do, I should say, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel yet, make sure you do that. Subscribe, because this is the kind of stuff that I talk about, and you're going to get so much understanding about men, about relationships, about yourself, about polarity, about becoming more feminine, more masculine. And if you want that, if you want to learn how to inspire a man into taking care of you, into cherishing you the way that you need and deserve, then subscribe. And be sure to like this video as well if you're liking it so far. It's going to help me, helps the algorithm, helps other women find this channel. Okay, so what would be 6.5 years ago, roughly 6 years ago, a little bit over 6 years ago, I kind of woke up. Maybe it was 6.5. It was 6.5. this month, actually. My instincts came fully online, and I started very rapidly shifting into becoming a different person. And all of a sudden, I wanted to put in a ton of effort into the relationship to be a better man, a much better man for my wife. And this is the first experience I've ever had where I started putting in more effort into a relationship than the woman did. And I'm talking about in my marriage, but in any other relationship I've ever had as well, or any other dating situation or anything. So the first time. And it was also the first time that I was putting in more effort and I was not getting anywhere close to that effort matched. Because when I woke up and I wanted to be a better man, my wife, already had a lot of built up resentment towards me. Very justified resentment, because I kind of sucked for those 3.5 years. I was not the kind of leader, not the kind of man that she needed me to be. And her personality is just more naturally resistant, let's say, resistant to change. And when I was leading her to change, I wasn't doing it in the most healthy, loving way. I was doing it with some level of irritation, at least at times. And she also just didn't fully get what I wanted. Like, this is when I realized, like, I want a really polarized relationship. I want a relationship where I'm fully stepping up and leading my wife, taking care of her, being thoughtful, being really considerate, making sure that she feels safe, feels loved, all of this stuff. And I want her to let go, to open up, to be able to receive me fully, to submit to me fully, to trust me in every way, to have faith in my leadership, and to be grateful for everything that I give her. And that kind of shifted very quickly, that desire. And I started trying to lead her into this dynamic. I had no idea how. Like, the stuff that I'm talking about now, I was just on my hands and knees, blindfolded, kind of scrambling around in the dark, trying to figure this out and trying to lead my wife into this. So, if I knew what I knew now, it would have been much easier, but I didn't. And so she was quite resistant. And she was not putting in the effort that I was putting in. And that was really frustrating for me. It was painful for me. Like, it hurt. There was one point I literally, and I've told this story, I'm not going to tell it on this one just for the sake of time. I went off into the car and cried like a baby for 30 minutes because I was putting in more effort than her. And it just hurt so much. It hurts so much to do that. To not have that effort matched. To not have her to feel that she cared about me and valued me in the same way that I was now trying to value her, which of course was just a tiny little taste of the medicine that I had given her for the past 3.5 years of our relationship. And that was, even though I was, crying for myself at the time, it really helped with my empathy to realize, like, yeah, this is what it feels like to do this to someone else, to not match their effort. This sucks. This is horrible. And so I also, because of that, have a lot of empathy for you. If you have ever experienced this before, I know what it feels like, at least very briefly. But to do that for years, to be a woman who has put in more effort than their man for years, it's horrible. I can only really imagine what that would feel like. I kind of know from talking to a lot of women, but I haven't actually experienced it. Now, there can be a couple of reasons that this happens. So first of all, understand that men are different than women. Men can be very inspired to put in effort to be better men. But the way that women expect them to put in more effort is kind of backwards. So if you are, first of all, putting in effort into the relationship through your masculine, like you are doing it by trying to be thoughtful, by trying to be more thoughtful, anticipating his needs, mothering more, initiating more, stepping up basically in the way that a man needs to do, right? If you're doing the kind of things that you wish, like, I wish my man would do this for me more, then you're putting in the wrong effort. Okay? And this is part of the tragedy. It's like you're putting in so much effort, but you're doing it in the wrong way that's not going to yield any kind of results. because it doesn't inspire a man into stepping up when you act more like a man. When you go into trying to provide, basically. If a man is going to put in more effort, and I'm not saying he definitely will, because not all men will, not all men are ready. It's going to come from you putting in effort to being a more feminine woman, letting go of control, opening up your heart, being more vulnerable, Being more submissive, right? Doing what a man wants you to do, what he tells you to do. Not everything, because some things would actually dishonor your heart, but in general, follow his lead. Open yourself up to his feedback, right? And even asking for his feedback. May I please have some feedback about how I'm showing up? May I know how to be a better girlfriend, a better wife? How many times have you asked that? Unless you're asking that, well, then you're putting in the wrong effort if you're not asking that. Your job is to let go. It is to open up. It is to receive. Your job as the woman is to be the receiver. It is to follow. It is to be taken care of. Your job is to be taken care of, okay? Are you good at being taken care of? Are you putting in the effort to learn how to express more gratitude in a feminine way? Are you learning how to get more in touch with your heart and your feelings? That's the effort that you need to put in. So if you're not putting in that effort, you're probably not going to get a good return on the effort you're putting in. Okay, and you might even get like the opposite of a return, right? You're actually like making him less motivated. He's actually doing less. He's becoming more apathetic the more effort that you put in, if it's the wrong kind of effort. So that's on you. Okay, that's on you. Now, I'm not blaming you. It's like you didn't know. Now you know. And if you continue to do it, well, that's kind of your responsibility. It's always been your responsibility, but now you're consciously aware of your responsibility, so you can change it. This is masculine and feminine polarity. This is the way that men and women are wired. When a woman becomes more soft, more submissive, more vulnerable, more open, and she's also in her self-worth, right? I'll talk about that in a moment. But when she shifts all of that, a man tends to become more and more inspired. When a woman is stepping more into her masculine, it can be soft and masculine. It's like you're more in that mothering role, the more apathetic he becomes. That is just how he is wired. You might not like that. Or you might really like that. Hopefully you really like that, because like that's just how men are. It's like, that's great. If you don't like that, well, you got to come to terms with that. It's just, we're wired differently than women. But this also involves, I need to mention, this also involves being in your self-worth. That means you don't just follow a man no matter what. That doesn't mean you just become a quiet doormat. That doesn't mean you just roll over and let a man do whatever he wants and you're meeting his needs by following him and he's not really stepping up to meet your needs. That is not being feminine. That is being out of your self-worth. You're actually being compliant. You're fawning, whether you realize it or not. You're dishonoring your heart. If you have a tendency to do that because your parents, led you to be really obedient and compliant and dishonor your heart, and they'd get upset with you if you didn't follow them, if you like resisted their leadership in any kind of way. If you've been led to do that, then you may have that pattern really deeply ingrained. That's one of the big things that we help women with, by the way, in our academy program. It is helping women who have a tendency to fawn, to be compliant, to dishonor their heart, to not communicate what they are experiencing, what they're feeling, what they need. They're more shut down, they're more agreeable. Not every single woman in our program is like that, right? Some are more the boss babe type, loud and really resistant and judgmental and all of that. But the majority, they're more of the compliant type. And we help you shift that. Now, if you're interested in shifting that and making these shifts with us, I would love to help you with that. Because I want you to get everything that you need and deserve. I want you to have that really devotional man who wants to take care of you. And it's not going to come from you being overly agreeable, by dishonoring your heart, like agreeing with him, by following him, following his leadership, by doing what he wants, by you dishonoring your heart, by not putting your needs and your feelings first. If you're continuing to follow him and he's not stepping up by putting in more effort, well, then guess what? That's what the problem is. So you're not valuing yourself enough. We show you how to value yourself fully in a feminine way. Because if you just start resisting and setting boundaries and judging and nagging and all of that stuff, that's not going to fix anything, right? That's not going to inspire a man to start putting in more effort. You need to be in your feminine, communicate in the way that we talk about here, and not tolerate what you shouldn't be tolerating. Also be willing to flow away from a man or from a situation, or just not follow a man when your heart is being dishonored. You need to realize that you're that valuable, that worthy, that incredible, that beautiful. And you need to act as if, not faking it, but actually being embodied in it. So we take you through all of these shifts. We take you by the hand. We show you exactly how to communicate in this way. We correct you lovingly when you make mistakes. We create expectations for you to make sure that you continue to let go, to open up, to be vulnerable. We encourage you and create the safety for you to speak your feelings, to speak your needs. Basically, we're the perfect man for you, except non-romantically, right? Obviously, there's no romance or sexual energy or anything like that in our container. But we are leading you with this level of care and giving you this imprinting of this is how it's supposed to be. This is how you're supposed to be taken care of by a man. This is what it feels like to be truly led, to feel truly safe, to be truly taken care of and valued and cherished as the feminine woman that you are. And then we show you all the shifts that you need to make. We help you through them. We help you with your feelings. We help you emotionally regulate if you need help with that. We get you out of your head. We get you fully in your body so you can be in that beautiful feminine energy. So I'm going to continue with what I'm talking about. That was a bit of a tangent, but before I do, if you are interested in that, go below this video, open up the description. You're going to see relationshipyourdreams.com. Click on that link and watch the video on the next page. It's a 10-minute video. It's going to really kind of open your eyes to what is possible, just hearing from some of the ladies in our program, and I'll be talking a bit as well, just about how you can make these shifts. Even if you don't end up joining the academy, it can just be really helpful to inspire you to realize what's possible for you. Because it is possible to make these shifts by yourself. I'll never lie and say, hey, you need me to make these shifts. You can do it by yourself. It's just going to take way longer, right? Keep watching all these YouTube videos and you buy my books and whatever. I just want to make this as easy a journey as possible for you. I want to make this much less painful with way fewer mistakes, much less heartbreak, much less frustration, and take you much further than you otherwise would go. Becoming the most feminine, radiant, vulnerable, beautiful woman that you already are underneath your wounding. So you watch that video, and then if the video really resonates, then book a call with me. It's right below the video. We do a call. We talk about what's going on in your love life. You decide we both decide if you're right for the academy, and then you decide whether to work with us. And if you do, great. Then we start leading you and help you make all these shifts as quickly as possible. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Now I can't even remember what I was saying. What was I saying? I was talking about making these shifts. Oh, being compliant. So I was talking about being compliant and how to inspire a man into putting this effort in, you can't be compliant. You must realize your worth and communicate in a feminine way, but be willing to basically not follow unless a man is putting effort in. You must be willing to flow away from the relationship. You must be willing to risk everything. You must risk being alone again. Because otherwise you're out of your self-worth. He's going to feel that and he's not going to be inspired to want to step up and put in the effort. It's just as simple as that. So this is really important what I am talking about here. Because, so for me in my marriage, I'll just briefly talk about this. I take marriage extremely seriously. Okay, I made a promise, so I want to follow through in that promise. And we kind of went through hell during our polarization phase where I was trying to lead my wife into making all of these shifts, and she was just so resistant and judgmental about a lot of it. I never, it never even really went into my head that's like, oh, I just want to divorce and start over because it would be so much easier. I knew it would be. Of course, it'd be so much easier to start over. Once my instinct came online, I could have found a much more feminine woman instead of leading my wife into becoming more feminine. But I just knew I'm going to find a way to help her through making all of these shifts. But at the same time, even though marriage is so important to me, I knew I wouldn't stay married to her if she was unwilling to make these shifts and put in the kind of effort that I was putting in, because I knew that I was worth so much more than that. I was worthy of a woman who would fully submit to me because I was willing to fully devote to her in every way. And this is really important what we're talking about right now. Because are you willing, ask yourself, are you willing to fully submit to your man? Are you willing to be fully vulnerable and open and respectful and fully receive his leadership? If you are, then that means you are willing to put in the effort to be the best woman that you can be for your man. And if you're this far into this video and this like I haven't triggered you away yet, then that probably means that I'm speaking to your instinct. Your feminine instinct is relatively online, and you know that this is what you want and need, which is fantastic, right? You're way ahead of most women who are still way stuck in the indoctrination, the brainwashing of how, men and women are basically the same, and operating through trauma, operating through wounding. So your instinct is online. Now you just need to make all of the shifts to inspire a man's effort. Okay? So whether you're single or in a relationship right now, it's basically the same thing. Number one, you need to actually become that woman, that really submissive, vulnerable woman. And so when it comes to submission, understand this. So much of submission is actually about using feminine communication, because you're not going to be able to follow a man while honoring your heart with a lot of the stuff a man might be leading you to do or exposing you to, right? Even just something like him complaining, and you submit to that. You just accept his complaining and kind of venting and negative energy. Well, you're dishonoring your heart when you do that. When he tells you to do something and like he's not putting in the same amount of effort and you do it, well, you're dishonoring your heart when you do that. And that's a really big problem. And what can you do at that point? Well, what women often do is they get resistant. It's like, I'm not going to do that. You start judging that, setting boundaries. You just resist. Like after you've been a doormat for long enough, after you've been too agreeable, you kind of swing in the other direction. It's like, I'm not going to tolerate this crap anymore from men or from my man. But that doesn't work either. That can actually be better. Like pretty much anything's better than being a doormat. You can actually get more inspiration, inspire a man more by being kind of, don't want to swear on my channel, the B word, like just acting kind of not agreeable, let's just say. You can get more inspiration from a man from that, because at least you're in some of your self-worth, right? You're not just willing to do whatever a man wants, even if he's not valuing you. However, you're still not fully in your self-worth. You're not in your feminine self-worth, and you need feminine communication to do that. You shouldn't be resisting a man. You should be opening yourself up to a man when you're having difficulty following his leadership. Like, oh man, please have some help. I'm feeling some anxiety. Just as a really basic thing that we teach in our academy, right? Basic level communication. And then you share what the problem is. You open up yourself up to his help, and hopefully he changes or gives you reassurance or whatever, so that you're able to actually follow his leadership from a heart-honoring place once you have that conversation. Feminine communication is the only way to do that, because it's the only way to respect him while also respecting yourself. If you get resistant and say no and set boundaries, and I'm not going to do that, you're disrespecting him. You're respecting yourself while disrespecting him. If you turn into a doormat and do what he wants when it doesn't feel good for you, when you're dishonoring yourself, you're disrespecting yourself while like kind of respecting him, at least on the surface, but you're actually still disrespecting him, because the only reason you would do that is to try to get his love or to manipulate him in some kind of way to avoid his disapproval. And that's not really respect. That's just fear, right? You're just afraid of him, or you're trying to control him in some kind of way. That's not respect, right? Respect is following his leadership because you trust him, because you value him, because you want to be a better woman for him, and you're doing it for yourself at the same time. Can be a subtle difference, but it's important. So you need to be able to use feminine communication. If you don't know feminine communication, you're not going to be able to have this relationship. You're not going to be able to inspire a man into putting in all of the effort that you need from him. Now, I should say, here's a interesting aside to this. People pleasers. You might have a man or had a man in the past that's putting in all of this effort. It's like, wow, he puts in so much effort and I'm just not really attracted to him. Why is that? It's because he's putting in effort in the wrong way. Just like you might be compliant, you might be a doormat to get a man's love. Well, a man might take the kind of look masculine, like he's providing and taking care of you and stuff, but he's doing it for the wrong reasons. He's actually people pleasing. That's not masculine, and that's not actually leading. And it's not healthy, and it's not going to feel good for you, and you're not going to feel much attraction to a man who does that. So yes, he is putting in effort, but he's putting in effort with the wrong energy. He's putting in effort so that you like him more, instead of putting in the effort because he loves you so much. subtle difference, right? With my wife, I don't people please at all. Like, if she doesn't like me or if she doesn't like something I do, I mean, oh well, I'm going to do what I believe is right. I do want her to be happy. I do want to take care of her. I want to make sure that she is safe and feels safe and is cherished in every way that I can. But I'm going to do it for the right reasons. I'm going to do it because I want to make her happy, not because I want her to like me more or love me more in some kind of way. That's just manipulation. So if a man is putting in that kind of effort, guess what? You need to use feminine communication to share what's coming up for you so that he puts in the right kind of effort, because that kind of effort is never going to really hit. You're never going to feel that. It's like if someone gave you a present to manipulate you into liking them more, are you going to really value that present? No, because he's not giving you the message, hey, I'm giving you this just because I love you and value you. It's giving to get. So you've got to use feminine communication to shift that. Just small aside, I'll do more videos on that, but that's a really important piece to this whole effort thing. Because many women will think, like, here's the thing, most of the men that women have that are putting in tons of effort, they're actually people pleasing. And that's a really sad state of our reality if that's the case, but it's true. Most women who have experienced a man who puts in tons of effort, they are actually people pleasing. Most of the men that women are with that are not putting in effort, it's because the women are not in their feminine self-worth. So the men are not inspired. Now, still, that's on the man as well for his behavior. I'm not blaming you if you have a man or had a man like that. I'm just saying this is a co-creation. And that's your part in it. It's you're not in your feminine self-worth. You're not using feminine communication. You're not naturally inspiring. And then the other part of this is not every man is going to shift. So you've got to be willing to flow away. That is the last part of being inspiring. One of the flow away and not follow if a man is not being devotional, if he's not putting in the effort. You're going to match his effort. Okay, understand that you are a reflector of him. You are not supposed to be the one that is putting in, like you can't go way out of your way to be overly submissive when he's not putting in the effort, because that's not going to feel good for you. It's like he's not even taking you out on a date and you're like just, he's leading you to do all of this stuff to change and, let's just say let's say you were open to dressing a certain way for him. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? There's nothing wrong with being flexible and wanting to dress a certain way for your man. You should hopefully want to dress a certain way for yourself as well. But let's say that you're really open to doing that. And so you totally change how you dress and everything, but your man's not even taking you out for a date. There's something wrong with that. Something very wrong with that. Now, if your man was putting in tons of effort into being an amazing man for you, an amazing provider and taking care of you and making you happy, and he's leading you into dressing a certain way and you're okay with it, like you're happy to do that for him, then that's totally fine. Because now it's a matching of effort. And then he's actually going to value you because you're valuing yourself. Women really struggle with this. And I'm going to tell you, as a man who, not just with my wife, like one of the reasons I picked my wife is because I couldn't get away with nearly as much as I could with other women. Even though she was, had very resistant and not feminine in certain ways, like other women I dated, I chose her in large part because I could feel her self-worth. It's the most important thing. Even more important than showing up in this, like using feminine communication and all of this stuff. Feminine communication can make you even more in your self-worth, but it's the unwillingness to put in effort for a man who's not putting effort into you that is the most attractive thing you can do. And this is important because most women that I speak to, they're doing everything backwards. They're putting in way too much effort. You need to match a man's effort. He needs to be able to feel your self-worth, and he's going to feel that by you not putting in way more effort than he is. Now, you can work on changing yourself for you, right? Like, so women in our academy program, for example, they're putting in tons of effort into themselves, being more feminine, letting go of control, all that stuff. But they're doing it for themselves, not for the man. That's the difference. And part of the work that they're doing for themselves is learning how to match the amount of effort that they're putting in as far as like letting go and following a man's lead based on how much he's doing for her. Not to manipulate him, right? It has nothing to do with manipulation. It's like when you are in touch with your self-worth, you'll feel that like, it doesn't feel good to keep following a man and, doing what he wants when he's not doing what I need. He's not stepping up in the way that I need. You'll just feel that inside yourself, but your self-worth has to be online. And understand, this is so much of what these videos are all about. More important than anything is I want to get you in touch with your feminine instinct and with your feminine self-worth. I want you to feel your self-worth and realize that you are worthy of more than you are getting right now. And I want you motivated to become the best woman that you can be for yourself first and foremost. And learn how to be really inspiring. I mean, yes, inspiring a man into taking care of you, that's all great and everything, but doing it for yourself first is so much more important. Because you're worthy of that. You're worthy of just being able to be feminine. And yes, also absolutely worthy of being taken care of by a man. And that's what I help you do. Keep watching these videos. I want you to make all of these shifts. I want you to take this seriously because you can have this for yourself. Life gets so much better when you make these shifts. When you learn how to inspire a man's effort. And if you would like help learning how to make these shifts, if you want to do this the much, much easier way, the much less painful way, then book a call with me. Go below this video, open up the description, relationshipyourdreams.com. Watch that video, book that call, and we'll get on a call together and we'll have a fantastic time talking about this, talking about your issues, talking about why you're stuck, and then helping you create the relationship of your dreams and find out if the academy is right for you. That's it for this one. I'll see you for the next video.